Hey everybody, I'm Izzy, and let me start by saying thank you so much for purchasing one of our Infeed tables. This was one for the square tubing, and today I'm going to show you how to really easily install that on your square tube fence guide. First of all, let's take a look at what's inside the box. You should have a little baggie with some aluminum, a handle, and some bits in there. And of course, your Infeed table. To install your Infeed table, you're going to want some blue tape, you're going to want a Phillips head screwdriver, and in this case I'm using a center finder. This isn't totally necessary, it just makes the trick a little bit easier. So you're going to start by taking your aluminum piece, which is going to have some double-sided tape on the back of it, and you're going to start by wanting to mount it. You're going to want to mount that onto your fence here. I'm just going to put some double-sided tape down here, rolled over, and then I'm going to position the fence, the aluminum piece, right over the top of that, tight up against the bar. Peel off the double-sided tape. Now there's a couple things you want to pay attention to. On the soft stop you don't have to worry because the bolts that hold the fence are recessed, but on some, like the Deltas or the Grizzlies, the bolts stick out a little bit, and you'll want to make sure that you leave your fence out far enough to clear those bolts as you move it up and down. So in this case, I want to make sure that my groove here is between these two screws and it's not over the top of one of them. And I'm going to push this right up, tight up against the fence and set that in place. And that's going to, the double-sided tape will stick to the back of that, and that's going to give me my position. Oh, that's going to give me my position. I can pull that off. And then in your bag you'll have 6 screws. So you can use your center finder or just kind of guess. You can try and keep those holes as centered as possible. And then add your screws. So next up, you're going to see on the back that there's these 6 different hole positions, and this is for a threaded insert. So if you have the soft stop, you're going to want to put the threaded insert in this hole right here, so it'll be the back one far right if you're looking at it upside down. But if you don't have the soft stop and you're not sure what hole it goes in, you can simply just put the fence on, get underneath, and take your handle with you and kind of eyeball which, you can move this back and forth to eyeball which hole best suits your saw. And to do that, you're going to want to kind of have your handle this way and just a little bit of space between the back of the handle and the fence, so when you turn the cam clamp it'll tighten down. That's the best way to kind of see which hole works. So if one of these holes don't happen to work with your square tubing, if you have one of the oddball size tubes, you can just put this on here, line everything up where you need it, mark the center of that, and then drill a 5/16 hole. The threaded insert will work in that 5/16 hole. You're going to take your handle and you'll see a spacer that's going to insert right into that hole there. And then you want to add your bolt with your washer first through the spacer and into the threaded insert. Now if you want to get fancy, you can put a little Loctite in there so the threads lock into there. So next off, if you have the soft stop, you're going to take your second piece of Andy-kind cork rubber and throw that over the aluminum. Now if you don't have the soft stop, you're going to need to adjust the height as needed. So you may end up needing to use some shim material in there to get it to raise up to the top. So now that is nice and flush. And that cork rubber really helps give it a nice bite. Now it's ready for use. So it's really easy to install, and it will work on lots of different fences. If it's a little too low, you can shim it up a little bit. And if you have one of the deltas and you're within 6 inches or 0.6, so less than 3/4, we'll have a fence coming out for that soon too. So anyway guys, thank you so much for purchasing this. I really hope you get lots of enjoyment out of it, and it helps keep you safe in the shop in your future woodworking projects.